Oh my god, we've got a bleeder. Welcome back, friends, here to the porch fire pit here at Lantern 1 at our location in the Moravian River Valley near the top of several 27,000 foot peaks in the central highlands of the Ohio. So today I want to talk first aid kits. I've been a ski patroller for 17 years, 18 years actually, and carry individual first aid kit, plus I'll go over what's in my patrol vest that I carry day to day when I patrolled on the hill. There's lots of individual first aid kit videos out there. I'm not an expert, I just have a lot of experience, and the stuff that I carry works for me and a lot of the folks that I patrol with. Alright, this is just an average first aid kit. It's in a canteen bag because it's what I had to put it in, so no implications there. It just was conveniently sized. This is like your IFAK, your emergency individual first aid kit. This one's set up for things that you're going to run into. This isn't like a, apocalypse into the world, somebody causing damage at a local facility with a weapon, that kind of thing. My first aid kits are set up for car accidents, people falling off bicycles, kids running through glass doors and cutting themselves, anything like that. Kitchen knives, axes, chainsaws, stepping on something, nails. This is an everyday, common sense, common man's everyday life kind of thing. So this isn't the end of the world kind of first aid kit. This is just what you carry every day. I carry this in mine. These are just some, it's a pill bottle. I've got Benadryl in here, Imodium, and some acetaminophen, and some ibuprofen. This is just my personal stuff I carry with it. If you're a patroller, we don't give out medications because we're not a doctor. The only thing we can give out is we are licensed to give out oxygen and ice, basically. So those are the two meds we distribute mostly. But these are just meds I carry for me and for whoever else might need them that's a friend of mine. This is not a patrol-related thing. This is just a personal thing. Pink shears, but they are a pair of trauma shears. These are a smaller set than the giant ones that I carry in my patrol bag. But these are still regular trauma shears. They are pretty hefty. They will cut through stuff. They're not quite as, the leverage on them isn't as great as with the ones I have in my patrol bag, but I have those for cutting through thicker clothes. I do carry a tourniquet. It's a commercially made tourniquet. You just want to make sure when you get one of these that the Windlass that's in the tourniquet this is not blood, by the way, it's coffee, that the Windlass is metal. The plastic ones have been known to break. Something that's you just want, if you need to use this and time is imperative, you don't want your tourniquet to break. There are other methods patrollers use. We can make tourniquets out of triangular bandages and things, but I always carry a tourniquet. It's just for somebody causes a damage with a chainsaw, an axe, and you can't get the bleeding stopped conventionally, or if you're not very experienced, you can use a tourniquet. The studies have shown that you can leave these on longer than people used to think. They don't cause the limb to die. Another thing a lot of patrollers carry is what we call a blood bag. And basically, if you have someone that's bleeding when you get to a scene, and this could be out here at camp, anybody that's bleeding, I could pull this out of my bag, and therefore all the stuff I need, I've got gloves, I've got gauze, I've got other things in here to stop bleeding. I won't contaminate my other equipment, because with bloodborne pathogens, if you're messing with someone else's blood and you touch things, you can spread that blood and contaminate your clothing, and has to be cleaned and very carefully. So what I'm carrying in here, this is just mine. I've got a couple pairs of purple nitrile gloves. I carry some sterile roller gauze, and so I also carry an Israeli bandage, and it is like having an ace bandage with a sterile dressing on it. Put the sterile dressing down, you can wrap it around the wound and put pressure on it and stop bleeding. One thing I do want to tell everybody is this is not a how-to first aid video. This is a stuff I'm carrying video. Get some training. You can have all this stuff. If you don't know how to use it, it's not going to do you any good. The other thing you run into is trying to remain calm. Everybody's great until something bad happens. And it is an adrenaline rush. Even after you've been doing this for years, if you're dealing with an injury, it's an adrenaline rush to see somebody injured. And not to say good adrenaline rush, your body does an adrenaline dump because it's like, oh, a little bit of panic sets in. So remaining calm in those situations and forcing yourself to remain calm is a really, really important part of any kind of first aid situation. This is more of a heavier duty blood bag. This is like a smaller one. Then I've got a second one in here. I've got more roller gauze, more gloves, another Israeli bandage, and a whole bunch of 4x4s. So if you get into a situation where this one might not work, I've got extra stuff. Whichever one I pull out first is what I'm going to use. And then in the back of here, I've got the classic, more 4x4 gauze pads, a whole bunch of Band-Aids of different sizes. When you're going to run into things, if it's not a medical emergency, and most medical emergencies, if you're not trained, most medical emergencies I can't deal with that are, internal injuries as far as bleeding. You just need to get them to a hospital. I want to stop bleeding and immediate threats to life if I can. So again, that's breathing, airway, circulation. This fits in a backpack, and I carry it every day. And this is my everyday carry first aid kit that stays in my backpack that's with me 99% of the time. Not that I'm paranoid, but I use this stuff a lot. And I mostly use the Band-Aids, to be completely honest. And, wash something out in the sink in the office. If it's a cut, dry it out, put some Neosporin on it, and put Band-Aids on it. That's the most common thing you run into. But you do have the occasional larger problem where someone was cutting wood and decided to cut their leg with an axe or burn themselves. And all that kind of stuff does happen. But that's pretty much it for that little first aid. This is my car kit. I recently saw a video on someone who was asking, where do you keep this in your car? And I always keep it in the back of Norma there towards the back end so I can pop the back open and get to it. And the person's comment was, well, what happens if you need to get to it and you can't move? So you're in a car accident and you need your first aid kit to save your own life or to stop something that happened to you. Where do you keep it? So the thought on that was it's convenient, and it would be a lot easier if I could just reach behind my seat and grab this if I need to stop and help somebody here at camp or out in the road. Or I've moved this to behind my, in between the driver's seat and the passenger seat, just behind that setting in front of where the adventure dog has her area in the car. So the kit is now in a more accessible location. Alright, so my car kit's a little bit more extensive than the one I carry in my backpack. It has pockets in it. I actually picked this up out at Fort Drum at an Army surplus store there. I carry 3 cravats. That's a donut. If you're a patroller, you know what those are for stabilizing wounds or going over a protruding bone after it's been covered with a sterile cloth. And again, like I said, get some training, folks. Having a kit's great, but if you don't know anything about it, it's not going to do you any good if you don't know how to use it. Patrollers, when they do their initial training, do about 20 weeks, and the patrol I am with, does 10 weeks of the book work and does a test, and then you start scenario work. And scenario work is where you learn how to learn the basic skills and how not to panic and how to deal with things. And it's repetitive training. It's just like the military, and they train things over and over again, or any other emergency services or emergency responder. But your real learning before you get in the field comes in scenario practice, because you learn what to do. If you end up on a place or a scene where someone's pretty severely injured, and it can be very gruesome. The trauma is gross. It's gruesome. And your natural reaction is to freeze. The training at that point, you take a deep breath and your training kicks in and you follow the path to solve the immediate problem. You'll treat that patient as they should be treated because of all the practice that you had before you got there. So you always run into something you've never seen. There's always something that just weird happens that you've never seen before. Alright, side pocket. I have a first aid mask, and this is actually moleskin for hiking, but I carry it in there. There's my first aid CPR mask in there. It's something I don't have in the smaller kit is a CPR mask. It's something I really ought to get. Just a smaller face shield if I don't have the bigger mask at hand. Alright, first off, like I said, the things I always run into, I always have the priority of the stuff I see most when I have to help out. I have 4x4 gauze. I've got non-sterile roller gauze, lots of gloves, different types of tape in here. I've got my stethoscope. We do use these in patrolling. These aren't bad to have, and there's a lot of things on YouTube. You can learn how to use a stethoscope and how to listen for breath sounds on videos. It's just handy just to hear what's going on in the lungs. If you're not sure if the person's breathing, if they're having problems, you can listen to their lungs and hear, and at least get an idea if it sounds like it should or it sounds like it shouldn't. It doesn't mean you're diagnosing anything. It just helps you to get a picture of what you think might be going on to speed up you getting them to a higher level of care. Alright, I also have another honking pair of trauma shears in here. They are stainless, and I've had these a while. These are great. More gloves. I carry a mag light flashlight. This is an old mag light. It does not have the LED in it, but it's still going strong. Waterproof tape. There's a theme here with the Band-Aids. You can see that's probably the most commonly used thing that I carry is Band-Aids. If you can find some trauma dressings, the big absorbent ones, those are really handy. You can solve a lot of problems with a lot of pressure and a couple of these real heavy dressings. 4x4s, I've got sterile gauze in the back. Like I said, this is my car kit, so if I came on a car accident or some other accident, this is a little bit more blood related. It can handle more bleeding. I've got more. I just got a lot of Band-Aids in here. It's like a Band-Aid theme going on. But keep the gauze, all this stuff, that stays on top. That way if I don't have a blood bag in here, I just pull the gauze out and set it right down. Generally, if this bag comes out, there's other people around, so I'll have bystanders. I'll tell them where stuff is in here and have them get out my supplies if I need it to take care of someone, and have them hand me something so I'm not introducing any blood or other substances into my bags. But that's it. I don't do a lot of splinting out of this bag, but I do carry a SAM splint, and you can splint with all kinds of things. It's really easy to improvise splinting. Cardboard, newspaper, sticks, blankets. You can splint with a lot of things. This is a patrol vest. It's a Patagucci or Patagonia patrol vest. It's got a bunch of pockets on it. You have an option of carrying a belt pack or a vest where you carry all your stuff in it. And I like the vest just because with your radio and a bunch of other things in here, this ends up being 10, 12 pounds worth of stuff, and it's nice to distribute it a little bit better than just the bum pack that we wear. Most patrollers in our area carry a whistle. This whistle is basically for running a toboggan. If you have a patient toboggan coming down a hill, it's just to get folks' attention so they can get out of your way, because you want to get down the hill with your patient. Carry a light for checking pupils. A lot of pockets. I just carry a trauma pad in here, and also have a face mask, a face shield. One thing you always want to remember is when you're encountering folks that you don't know personally, you don't know what bloodborne pathogens they may be carrying. So you always want gloves and a face mask. I've got gloves, and I've robbed some stuff out of this, so it's not like it's ready to go right now. I always carry trauma shears. Okay, so trauma shears will cut through just about anything. They cut through zippers, they cut through all kinds of stuff. Don't grab a pair of small scissors or anything else. They make different sizes of these. You can get smaller pairs, but these come in. These are indispensable. We also make our own cravats, which are triangular bandages. I carry them in a plastic bag just for weatherproofness. Cut up old sheets. The commercially available triangular bandages are not big enough if you need to wrap them around someone's torso generally, at least an adult-sized torso, for splinting and doing that. So I carry a bunch of those, and a little explosion of Band-Aids. Sea patrollers see all kinds of trauma, all kinds of drama, and a lot of times the best thing is a Band-Aid. They fix a lot of stuff, and you don't necessarily need to prepare for the apocalypse. So I've got some triangular bandages in here. Obviously, we do a lot of splinting, improvised splints, or using commercially made splints. Waterproof tape, stuff's great. Tongue depressors, these are splints for fingers, basically. Non-stick pads, a lot of 4x4s. A lot of times I carry these in Ziplocs, sometimes I don't. This jacket's pretty waterproof, so I don't really have a problem with that. Alright, it does have a back pocket on it. I got my cross with the hit me here on the back. When you're standing in an accident scene, people want to gawk and see what's going on in Rubberneck, and they'll ski right into you. So this is also a target. Not only is it a item used for safety. Really, really great thing to have is a SAM splint. These collapse, and you can bend them to make them actually rigid, and that's where you get the actual support for arms, legs, whatever. These are great to have. They're pretty cheap. You can buy them on Amazon for the non-SAM splint brands for pretty cheap. And a CPR mask. I carry one of those. That's for CPR, obviously, and more gloves in the back of the bag. So this is pretty much it. That's pretty much what we carry. I'm concerned about breathing, bleeding, and life-threatening emergencies. illnesses and everything else, we generally send someone out to a higher level of care. So heart attack, that kind of thing, you have a CPR mask, you can get your AED and get a squad there, get them down the hill and get them to the squad. So splinting, breathing, bleeding are the big things that we're worried about as a patroller. It's very similar to what I carry in my other stuff too, but that's just a real basic run over of a patrol vest. Just be prepared for things. It's easy to carry a small first aid kit. You don't, honestly, putting it together yourself based on what you think you're going to run into. Um, the biggest threat to life is bleeding and knowing how to stop a bleeding. Heart attack or stoppage of the heart, that could be drowning, it could be suffocation. But get some training and learn how to stop these basic things, and you can help out your family, your friends, and your fellow citizens. Caribou Dave, Lantern 1, Adventure Dog sleeping in the sun over there, enjoying it. Do what you can where you are with what you have. Caribou Dave, I'm out, and before you turn me off, subscribe, like, and share the video. Hopefully this gives you some ideas of things to carry. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy that's been on a patrol for a long time, and I've seen a lot of stuff, but this stuff works. That's why I carry it. It's what I tend to need the most. Sterile pad with an absorbent on it with almost like a, what do you call that? Stretchy cloth thing. So Caribou Dave, Adventure Dog once again, out.